Hey, welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Shit ATL with your hosts, Amanda Ellenberg.
And I'm Prodigy Q.
And what are we talking about today?
Today we're actually talking about, I think when this comes out, it'll be like around 420.
Yeah, right before 420. Yeah.
So we definitely, this is our 420 episode. And so I guess we're going to, talk 420, man. For those who don't know, do know. 420 basically is like been a day where people kind of gather, and it's like the day of like cannabis and marijuana and smoking, partaking in various forms if that's what you do.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about history and things going on now and uses, all these different things. Because you can't have a celebration without like some realness behind it, So we're going to get into it all. And yeah, I've been really nervous about this episode actually, because when I was going to do a similar like episode, like went back way years ago when I thought that some of my other friends were going to do a podcast, the first thing I said was, I can't talk about weed. Yeah. I can't. Like, I am too nervous for friends, family, acquaintance, whoever, to, like, know that. I mean, the ones that know, they know, but, like, there's extended people that I know their stance, and I'm just nervous to, like, out myself publicly on my stance, but I think it's really important, and, like, I've grown so much since that period of time in my life, and I feel like this is a conversation that needs to be had, and by, like, giving in to the fear of everybody else, and I'm giving power to, like, all the lies that even got it illegal in the first place, and like all the dark history behind it, like I'm not doing anything towards the progress, like knowing how great it is. Right.
Right. I definitely agree with that and can understand that as well. I think we do need more platforms and opportunities to talk about it and get it, get the conversations definitely going about, definitely when it comes to like the certain laws behind it. I've always been, and personally I am a advocate for the recreational and the medicinal use of marijuana, or cannabis rather. And so I, even for myself, and I'm saying, definitely we deal with certain platforms and those kind of things. And, you think about, certain points of, our career, especially in the career we're trying to, get into, is one of those things where it's like, how much of it do you kind of say, show, those kind of things in regards to the support of it. But, but
I'm trying to walk in my life, the life that I'm given, like in the way that I want to walk. And I'm trying to focus more on that than like what's expected of me. Like things that there are things that are expected of me I'm going to do, but things that are expected of me that are like me not showing parts of myself and my personality and like what I believe in. No, like I just gotta walk as authentically as I can, and what is meant for me will come, and what isn't will go. Absolutely. Agreed. So I'm really trying to live in that.
I'm for it. I'm so for that.
And we may or may not have participated in the celebration tonight. Maybe or maybe not, just a little.
I plead the fifth on all accounts.
I always plead the fifth because I talk damn too much.
These are all allegations. It's allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay.
But it's one of those things too. In many regards, because it is a serious like thing. It is a federal level, illegal, drug, but there are, of course, many states that have, and still on the federal level, it still is illegal, but, many states, of course, have, made it legal for recreational and, of course, medicinal use for both.
Yeah. It took a fucking long time, but it's also really weird because, like, ancient civilizations used marijuana too, and like there wasn't, I mean, people didn't like smoke it really as much, some, but people still used it for like fabric, for tools, for all these different things, used it as medicine, like they like crush it down and stuff, but they'd use that. And so the properties have always been used, like, basically since the beginning of humankind. I don't know if any animals does it, like, maybe. But I do want to get into, like, the state and national level of things and all the laws. So hemp was still one of the highest national, like, grossing plant or thing or whatever, that until World War II, that was like the last of its reign, really, and it was using for textiles. And then so like indigenous Americans and then also like Mexicans would smoke it, and they brought it like there was like indigenous and Mexicans smoked it for like civilizations, and then when they like made a oh my god, I can't think right now. But when they like went over oh my god, please call this where I'm struggling out because I can't think of the word right now. Like it was like they were saying like when they came over to America, when Mexicans came over to migrated, yes. But really like when they were immigrating, and but either way, in the 20s, there were a lot of people coming over to America from different places, and a lot of POCs, and a lot of them, like, culturally and medicinally for years and years and years, used marijuana for what it is intended to be, and doctors have verified it is. And then it became a huge thing with the government and them trying to, like, go ham after Reefer Madness came out, because it was a propaganda movie, and it was talking about like all these teenagers, and it was their first time doing it, and they like committed rape and did all these different things, and like a lot of people would blame all these tragic things that would happen on marijuana and then on a random POC. And then they passed in 1937, so that movie was in 1936. In 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act came out, and it banned all non-medical use of the plant. But then in the 1960s, when a lot of white people went mainstream and started using it and saying how it was like peace and love, and in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans smoked, and then it started like, there started being a talk about it a little bit more, because it was only the 70s when they started, like, Oregon was the first one, and they started getting rid of some of these laws. Well, they didn't start getting rid, they started decriminalizing it. So you still gonna get a ticket, but they stopped putting people in fucking jail for it. Right. And then, like, Nixon was really the one that shot it into business, and then Reagan after him, like, they did. Look at how many notes I have. So many notes about, like, all the shit that they did, and then Clinton did some stuff after that, and I'm like, you talk for a second. I gotta organize these thoughts.
And it's I mean, that's kind of the history of it, of it all. It was, and I've even heard, like, it being one of those things too, where kind of one of those stories where I think something happened, and of course they of course, they blamed the black guy, and they was like, oh, he had, weed in his system at the time, and so because of those things, like you said before, like, oh, it became that kind of push that if you're on marijuana, you rape people, you do
kill
all this,
people,
you
do all
these,
everything.
all these violent things, and so, it was definitely, made into, again, came on a federal level, banned, of course, in the country. And again, like, I didn't know even that early that certain states had begun to decriminalize it.
Yeah.
And of course, since now a lot of states, of course, have followed suit as well. Even here, in Georgia, it's not fully legalized, but there are certain places, that have, decriminalized it a bit, those kind of things. So it's really good to see those steps in the right direction within our own state. But I do think, of course, countrywide, it should be, something that's definitely opened up a lot more. Because again, for the medicinal uses of it, and for me, that's like the biggie about it all, is because it's like also where it is on the criminal level, like it's a category 1 drug.
Yeah, Nixon did that.
Yeah.
The same as heroin and like all these different. It's supposed to be a incredibly addictive and incredibly dangerous drug. And then they put it on that level.
Yeah, and I feel like if anything, like that's where it needs to also. That's like for me, that's the biggest place where it needs to be changed. If you want it on the list for whatever other reason, it's true. But as a level 1 drug is completely insane. When again you have it on the same level as like heroin and meth and these kind of drugs, and it's like I don't know anyone who's ever like OD'd from marijuana use. Ever.
No, and there's so many worse prescription pills that they're just throwing at us. Like, it makes no sense. It's not for our safety. It's not for our health. It's for the continuation of business and systems that they've built that they want in place to operate a certain way to keep certain people under and keep certain people above.
Yeah. And I mean, because at this point, I feel like that's the only explanation for it all, because like even now with all the credibility and research that we now have about the plant, because we will call it as what it is, the plant that it is, to support all of the benefits from it. I feel like there's no it outweighs the it literally all like goes against all of the reasons why it's even on the list in the first place. And so I really do feel like there needs to be some type of call to action. I haven't even got to a point where I looked it up deep. Like I was like, who made this? Who made this law? And it's actually a commission group that's kind of organized by the government that kind of foresees these kind of things. And so, literally and truthfully, based on the people that get voted into this, and realistically, these people have the same power to literally take it off. But, of course, those things not even public knowledge on who these people are. Yeah. But there is a list of these people. Like, you can go to the website, and I can't think of the exact name of the particular organization at the top of my head. But, it's like a board of directors, so they can definitely vote. Or, I think some type of vote needs to happen to be able to take it down, because it's so crazy that fentanyl is literally, labeled less on the list than marijuana.
And you could just pick up a $1 bill with fentanyl on it and fucking die.
You know what I mean? Like, fentanyl is killing people left and right, and that's lower on the list than marijuana. Yeah, cannabis is ridiculous.
And you hear, it's ridiculous. We advertise medicine, like prescriptions on TV anyways. I think even with like marijuana, we shouldn't do, like, when this is eventually, because it will come back. When it is eventually lifted and the federal government gets their head out of their batonkies, then we will, like, we will see that. And I don't want anything advertised on, because that's just, like, I don't think that we should have our medicine tied up with, like, media and, like, we have all the resources to look up things for different ailments, like, why do we need to, like, shove it down people's throats. And then also a lot of those prescriptions, they'll say like may cause 5 million things really fast, and even death. Like, bitch.
All I had was a cough.
Well, actually, it might say death in the middle and then continue blah, 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 right after that. So then
it's so crazy. It's like death. All of the side effects are worse than like what I was trying to treat.
For real.
Gosh, like
for real.
I got the acid reflux. Mm-hmm. I might die. I might just stay away from spicy food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sheesh.
And also, I do want to point out like the differences. So, if you like don't want any of the like head stuff, then do some CBD. If you want all the benefits for your body, then have CBD. Like, there's always an option no matter like what it does to you. And then if you do want some fun little heady stuff, then you got to be careful. Just saying to anyone listening that might like want to participate. We're not telling you to or not to participate, you know what I mean? But allegedly, if you do, be careful.
Definitely always be careful on anything, you know, that you do. You know, when it comes to things that may I guess kind of influence, you know, I guess your natural kind of state in a way. But I think it's also again for the purposes and the reasonings. I look at so many of the benefits.
Well, I've also have the benefits up.
Let's go.
So I did want to tell y'all a little bit about what you could get. So it found that CBD, which is also like there's different kinds of all this. It's all a different breakdown, but there's like just CBD, and then there's the CBD THC combination. So you're always getting CBD no matter what. So in a study conducted in 2017, they found that CBD lowered the blood pressure of human participants, and it reduced their resting blood pressure as well as their blood pressure after stress tests, including mental arithmetic, isometric exercise, and the cold pressor test. And it also reduces inflammation, and neuropathic pain. Like, it reduces that pain. It prevents relapse in drug and alcohol addiction. So they tested people that suffer from a drug and alcohol addiction. And a lot of like people that participated in this study, they reduced their stress cravings, anxiety, and lack of impulse control, by, I'm assuming, smoking or ingesting or taking in some form that good cannabis. It treated anxiety disorders and panic attacks and all this stuff. Also, that's why we're saying you got to be careful, because I definitely, allegedly, supposedly know somebody, a friend, wink, that had a panic attack, like, really hardcore. Like I don't know anybody that's ever died from marijuana, but I do know people that have felt like they were actively dying from marijuana. So there is a paranoia that can come up, and it is scary. And sometimes you do it for a long time, and then all of a sudden it starts. So allegedly, so you just be careful.
Just always.
Yeah. So it could also treat gastrointestinal disorders. I actually, under the state of Georgia, I don't know why I haven't done it. I think about it every so often. I could get a medical marijuana card.
Oh, really?
Because a bitch got Crohn's, and it is painful. And not great. And I really always said that, like, participating in that baby girl, like, smoking, like, always made my stomach feel good, and for once, like, I felt like normal within my system. So it felt good. I don't know why I'm still fucking nervous. I'm still nervous. This whole thing, I've been nervous because this is such a big,
it is a thing.
Y'all are seeing me through my mental process. Like, it's like I'm actively exploring a fear right now.
Yeah, for sure, right? You're catching it all lives.
You can just see how anxiety Amanda does things. Welcome her to the show.
I love it. Love to see you. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
She talks too much and about nothing and can never remember what she's gonna say. Because she's stuck thinking about what she just said.
Say welcome to the show. But even the next one though, like
go ahead.
Preventing seizures. My grandmother's had seizures, and we've slick been trying to, push it on and let her know about it. But of course, it's an older generation. They're like, what? You're crazy. But that is another benefit. That it can have is preventing seizures or definitely lowering the amount. And I've seen studies. I've seen documentaries. People where family members or their children had seizures and they gave them CBD or started giving them CBD and they saw reduces in the amount of seizures and things of that nature. And so there's so many effects that it does have for people who struggle with eating or eating disorders. It helps with those things. For people who have insomnia, it's helped those kind of people.
I do want to be clear though. I feel like it doesn't help all eating disorders because I definitely have my things with eating, and mine is more of like I overindulge in moments, especially if I have like anxiety, and also food tastes better. So I'm just like, I just go for all the snacks. Allegedly
over all the snacks. Allegedly, for sure. So sweet and all the things.
Yeah, I woke up with a stomach ache this morning actually, because I really throughout my life I have had many different phases where, well, not my whole life, but from a period of time, I've had many different phases where I like smoked a lot, and then now I'm in the like one hit wonder baby phase. So, So I think I did a 2 or 3 hit wonder last night and ate every snack in the world. So so there is that. Yeah. But there are pros and cons to everything, but I think that this is the biggest pro ever you could ever want. It's been proven to fight cancer. They're always acting like they ain't got a cure, but they got a cure just locked up behind these bars.
Come on now. Cannabis, man.
So it's been like, obviously a lot of people do take it and during their time with like chemotherapy, and because it helps with the pain, but it also can help prevent cell growth and induce cell death in like, they tested in cervical cancer lines. It can do that, and then it has numerous anti-cancer effects that can prevent many different types of cancer, and it benefits the immune system.
Absolutely. So. And definitely with different kind of elements, we listen to a lot of these benefits, but of course we always have to say, because we have to say, make sure that you're seeking a professional doctor. And
talk to your doctor if you want the benefits.
Talk to your doctor if you're having
the risks include eating a lot and laughing too much and maybe saying some stupid shit. Oh my god, I had an entire hair in my mouth. When did that happen?
That is right.
You gotta go to YouTube to see this if you can. It's like literally holy. How long? I just felt something and then I pulled it and it went for so long. It's wild. See, saying it doing some stupid shit.
So funny.
Oh my god. Okay.
But so you definitely have to put those disclaimers out. Make sure you always talk to your primary physician. With any type of treatments, things you may have, for sure. But I'm big into all of it. When I mentioned this in past episodes. When it comes to holistic medicine and finding things that come from the planet, the world, not the planet, but come from the earth, and those things, various plants and roots and all the things that have great benefits to the body, to the mind, to the spirit. Because there's so many like pills and stuff that are, like I said, highly addictive. To me, even when you're talking about alcohol in a sense, and we push alcohol consistently. We sell alcohol everywhere. There's commercials and advertising for alcohol, and the amount of deaths that alcohol attribute to daily and yearly is again way more significant than what cannabis has ever done. So I look at it for like all of those things. Like we push these things. People say, well, they can't make a profit on it, but again, states are proven that you can. And the economies for a lot of states that have become legal, they've seen great amount of revenue from taxes and those kind of things.
Yeah, because they're the only ones. The government, that's part of it that I feel like they won't do it either, because they're winning out. Because even in all these states, because of the federal law, they do not have access to different tax breaks. Like, they can't fucking, where's my note? Because it is infuriating. I am really, it was, oh my God, my notes are crazy. Yeah, and I'm gonna look for it because I am pissed. Oh my God, where'd it go? But I'm gonna look it up. But they cannot get access. Oh, I took a screenshot. That was how I took that note. I remember now. Okay, I'm sorry. But no, I didn't. That was a different note. But either way, and check the internet and do your damn history, because I'm struggling today. But like they oh fuck, what was I even saying? I'm sorry. Tax breaks. Oh yeah, they can't it's definitely salary they can't put towards it. They can't put anything towards it besides like this one thing. That's what I wish I fucking remembered, which is like nothing. It's like barely the cost of, like, they can't put any of the rent, their employees towards it. The companies don't get access to tax breaks that they, like, a lot of businesses do. And so that's also why you've seen it rise up for the consumer, because it costs more for the people selling it. But that's because the government is not giving those tax breaks. So basically it's making money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like there's so many reasons that they act like they don't know and isn't a part of it that they want to continue to happen.
Yeah, right. And clear, it becomes clear that you wanted to continue, because there's no reasoning. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I'm sure it makes a lot of money, on the back end. Maybe for arrests or those kind of things. But then again, not even, because it costs money to arrest people. But then again, that's why you have these for-profit prisons too. So, so it really it starts to really get really, really, really deep. You start really following the money.
There's so many layers to this, and a lot of it that is, I fully believe why it is not legal right now. Like, because it definitely was built on this, but I fully believe this is still the reason that it's the way it is because of money, power, and ultimately the thing that started it all was racism.
Racism, right?
So
yeah, it's just rooted, a little bit there for sure.
And I don't doubt that the powers that be have changed that much. Maybe society has changed a lot. I don't believe that the people in power have.
Right.
Because also they're like, a lot of them from the same fucking family. They have just generations of the same thinking, Right.
I will say that I do think that, over time, I think it's going to have to change. Because again, it is on the state level, and they're allowed it on the state level, but I feel like, once more states become used to it, once the generation slowly change, because I mean, I'm sure that we definitely live in a day and age where I feel like, I mean, unless you're probably under a rock somewhere, there's no way you don't know anyone at all who doesn't, use, medicinal marijuana, or marijuana period, really.
At
all.
What
I mean? Like,
at all.
And, it's in so many, so many movies. It's just so, it's in a lot of pop culture.
Yeah.
And so I feel like eventually it's gonna, I mean, there's no way to act like it doesn't exist. I mean, I think apparently, of course, to, most drugs that are out there, it is the one that's kind of, I guess, seen the most, used the most, again, I mean, and everything.
Yeah. Talked
about the most, whether it's musically or, again, like, I mean, when you think about, like, particular pop icons, certain people come in your head that for a fact, like, what I'm saying, they're adamant smokers, Well,
one of them is not anymore, but forever he was, but
so it's like, it's one of those things. So I think the more, again, that, we have conversations about it, I'm gonna talk about it, we need to, it is not necessarily, something myself I put out there, but it definitely hits home, because, I was, like, literally arrested for marijuana, and I didn't even, theoretically, I hadn't felt like I had enough to warrant an arrest. However, it resulted in one, and the process that I had to go through, especially because I had never been in any, like, legal trouble, or, ever in my life. So it was like my first situation, period. You know what I mean? So scary as it was, I mean, you go through all of the things and all of the thoughts. But even the situation that I had to go through, it was really, it really drove with me more, like, to become even more of an advocate, because it was like the whole process, like, here I am going through all of this for, like, you know what I mean, for this, like, you know what I mean, like, it was so crazy. And I know so many other people too, like, I have a few friends who, I mean, and these aren't, like, again, you think about, like, people who completely strung out, or people who, like, particularly any other hard drugs, or people who don't, like, say, contribute to society, who, a lot of these people have, gone to college. A lot of people, they work regular jobs and literally just happen to be the wrong place, wrong time. And I mean, I know people who had, like, I'm talking about remnants, not even enough to do anything, but because they was found, then it's like, oh, well, we can still say, it's less than an ounce. So I know people who literally got arrested for, when I say crumbs, I mean, like, what you would consider crumbs, like, enough to, or maybe a small little rope. They found one, okay, well, we can get you, because, again, anything less than an ounce, for the most part, I mean, now they decriminalize it to where it has to be over an ounce, but before, a lot of these places, because a lot of places still is not even decriminalized at all. So it's still any, period. Really almost any, if that officer feels like it's worth the process, then, and I've seen it. So you got people who literally, these things on the record. These are things, kept them from jobs, or, taking away jobs. I mean, so much for that, and I mean, even when it comes to, like, jobs and drug tests, it used to boggle me, because marijuana also is, like, one of the drugs that stay in your system the longest compared to any of the other ones. It's like, it's typically about 45 days. So it's like I'm prevented from getting a lot of jobs that may drug test, because marijuana lasts in my system longer. So it takes me longer than literally somebody who can do, like, cocaine, which lasts in your system for, like, 3 days.
Also, like, on the other end, cigarettes are legal. And that's way worse for you. Yeah. And they did the same thing that they did with alcohol with cigarettes, where they're, like, pushing it down your throat. There were all these ads all through, like, the 1900s. I think it started after the war, before war. But either way, they were like, ooh, it is sexy, it is hot, you can do it anytime, anywhere. Mm-hmm. And even if you're pregnant.
Right.
Right. So, like, inside everywhere, too. And it's like, now there's some anti-whatevers, but it's not like you don't, like, risk your job for that. Now, some do tobacco testing, which is even crazier. That's...
Crazy. But they can get it down now to where, they can test hair and, all kind of things. And I just feel like it's just so, it's just really kind of really disheartening, really, because again, contrary to, things that are a lot worse. And I don't ever want to say that, downplay that it's not, bad, but there's ways to consume where it's not, like I say, you might not want to, smoke it or kind of things, but, you can always, eat it. You can, there's so many things you can do.
There's lotion. There's like all so this stuff.
There's so many things. Yeah. Where it's not that. You still can get all the benefits and I just feel like again, as so far as we like come as a society, it's something that I do think really. Personally, I really would love to see it taken off of the list completely. Completely.
It should have never been on that list.
And like I said, because there's so many scientific facts, because my whole thing now, when you look at, again, those reasons as to why it's on that list, and you look at all of the data, especially, of course, that they didn't have then.
No. Nixon got the data. He ignored the data. He hired a committee to do an investigation to prove all this bullshit he was saying. And he even was, like, saying that, like, drugs are enemy number one or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but there's like other things, and also whatever leads people to like actual drugs, like that is a mental like thing that they need help for in that way, like not like getting shoved into the worst place to be ever for who knows how long, right.
And this thing too, because before, there was a lot of places too that like release a lot of people, but a lot of people, because again, it is a federal, level number one drug, so the consequences for having it are very, extraneous. Yeah. Like you're definitely serving 5, 10, kind of maybe even plus, depending on, what all you may have had on you and or other things you may have had on you.
I found it's the Schaefer Commission. It was a group of doctors and legal experts that studied the dangers of marijuana. They found out it was not that bad at all, and he ignored their report. And the number, like, the war on drugs lasted so many decades.
Yeah. And, and again, a lot of these things are, again, like, deeply rooted in that. The war on drugs in itself was definitely, a catalyst that ultimately, definitely affected a lot of urban and black communities for sure. There was a lot of times, with stop and frisk, and, the history, if you know about the history of those things, the war on drugs really, honestly, and even in my opinion, I really do believe it's the number one catalyst as to kind of why, even as like the black community in the state that it is, because it took it realistically took a lot of fathers out the home. That it really did. From the 70s up until literally you look at the war on drugs, you would literally see like, I believe the statistics was literally like 30-40% decline of black men in the family home prior to that point. The war on drugs was a big
and it started in the 60s, and then like and there's like a lot of there was a law that LBJ changed, the Safe Street Act of 1968, or not changed, he did it, and then that like paid homage to like Nixon using that law to like to start the war on drugs, and then Reagan continue, and then I ended like after Clinton, which that's like 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah.
And
that's wild. It is wild. I just thinking about, I didn't like that. Yeah. It's horrible. Like, and that's the thing that's, like, so real is how many Black Americans, Brown Americans were beaten and killed during this time. And they, like, had not really any safe spaces because sometimes their homes weren't safe spaces either. And they would, like, they started doing free breakfast at schools and stuff to, like, start having a safe space. And it's just like there's so many parts of this that's like messed up. But can you like imagine living in a world where you have to go to, like, you have to create a space that's already in what's provided to you because that's the only safe space, like it, because the schools were like, I don't know. Okay, hold on. Cut that right out too because I'm not making sense. The like school, everybody expects you to go to school. So then you have to create a space within that is safe because you can't go home, you can't go out in the streets, you can't go shopping, you can't like do all these things because someone with power to hurt you is like always watching and lurking and waiting and implanting and choosing what to do, whatever the fuck they want to anybody. Like it just
it's wild, you know. And I think that I don't know like how those things effectively, you know, will change. I mean, of course, I think, you know, things always come down to, of course, the people, but, you know, but like I say, when it comes to like, ultimately, because like I said, I mean, prior even to this, knowing this and looking into it, I mean, you wouldn't even think that there is an actual commission board that actually can make these changes or these rulings, and to even know, like, oh, you know, let me, you know, email them, or let's, you know, because I mean, these different sectors, like I said, so kind of hidden, you know. I mean, there's like, they're not hidden because, again, I mean, it was public knowledge, but to know to look the pieces together, or again, we come so far till we don't realize that, like, oh, like there's still, you know, remnants of these things that still exist that we have, like I said, until we, like, you know, we're cutting every, you know, all these things out, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we come so far, and yes, we could do so much, but yet we still have so many things that still kind of anchoring us down.
Yeah.
You know, and I think until, like I said, all those are removed, we have to continue to shed light about them and talk about them because they still affect people today. Again, maybe not in that way. You know, maybe they're not overly doing stop and frisk. You know, a lot of places have, you know, kind of criminalize that in a sense, you know, people being able to do that, which is all, you know, steps forward to change. You know, like I said, states are already beginning to, you know, decriminalize it a bit within, you know, their cities. So, you know, again, that's great change. And we got to just continue to do so that, you know, I mean, everybody kind of has that kind of right and freedom, you know, to do so, especially again when, I mean, it's not that bad, people.
It's not.
It's not level like, 1 bad, is what I'm saying. It's not level 1
bad. No, not at all. Like, I feel like I haven't showcased well tonight. And this is why I okay, so you got to learn in life. And I definitely have learned that when I'm in like an anxious state that I don't make sense, period. So I feel like when I am like, you know, smoking that devil's lettuce and I'm talking off camera, that I make more sense than I've been able to make here. It's honestly just like the recording part that I'm like, so in my head.
But I understand. I mean, it's rightfully so, because again, I mean, this is really you. Kind of stepping out on that a little bit, because we do understand that.
Well, listen, and I can't smoke before a job, period. And this is like a job, and so I should have thought about like that part, because I get major anxiety that I don't get when I'm just chilling doing it. when I go into work. Like, it just makes me feel so on edge. And I think if all of this was normalized, then I could just, like, enjoy my body feeling good and my brain feeling good and, like, enjoy that and not be like, who's looking at me, who's judging me, who's going to try to take opportunities away from me from something that, like, physically and mentally helps me.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It is so true. It's so true. I mean, I think that's the, I mean, yeah. That's the drop Mike Jewel right there. Like, still real, 'cause, I mean, that's literally like the fight, right? It's like that is, it's so crazy that, you know, you have to even be in this kind of space,
right?
You know, and for me, like, I'm you know, I'm a lot better control it all, because I do have higher anxiety, and so for me it lowers that. So it's like the opposite where,
oh well, you know, I have high anxiety.
Well, I mean, like. And I mean, it works. You know what I'm saying? It keeps me good, because like otherwise, if I wasn't, that I'd be kind of, you know, that same way where I'm more in my head. But at the same time,
but I'm mainly only in my head because about what others think, which all stemmed from originally me doing it and not being allowed at all to do it, and me having to like look over my shoulder and looking for people, like looking for me and to like. Yeah, get me in trouble.
And I agree with that. And I think for me, like, the only reason I have like a really good coolness about it all is too, because, you know, unlike, you know, some in these things, like, you know, I smoke my mama, so I better look at, if mama love me, then look, I can care less what anybody else.
No, there are members of my family that I really hope they just don't listen to this. I really hope I'm gonna get so many lectures. That's another reason why I'm nervous, because I'm like, it's not just like, oh, who's gonna say something, who's gonna get me in trouble. It's like, oh, am I gonna have to see you real soon and hear about it?
It's like, all the family events.
Yeah, if
they call each other up.
Yeah.
Did you know? And by the time somebody here, she's on hard drugs. She's on, you know.
I for real told my mom not to listen to the podcast, so I hope she does it, honestly, because of different things I say, and especially when I was like, yeah, I got my nipples pierced. Because I still don't think she knows.
Oh boy.
But she was like at a wedding and talked to one of my other family members. I still don't know who said it, but they were like, they said something about the podcast and like listened to it, and then she was like, oh, I don't listen. They were like, oh, good. Like, you wouldn't want to.
No.
She don't want to know all this stuff about me. She really don't. And she doesn't want to know that I told the world all this stuff about me.
That might be more of the lecture.
Yeah. You know, she always used to tell me the internet is forever. Yeah. That's why I'm like so scared about.
When they dig into something, they be like, you know what? Them folks predicted the future. And now, look at everybody out here. Puff, pass, baby.
Right.
Pass the Dutchie.
Or if it's a big circle, puff, pass. You don't take the puff if it's a huge circle. But honestly, whip out another one if it's a huge circle.
You know what I'm saying? Because listen, it's the gift that keep on giving.
But there's sometimes in the struggle circle, so you know you gotta conserve.
And it's so crazy because I've had a lot of great, you know, social interactions around it all. You know, met some really great people. You know, who otherwise, you know, I wouldn't, or you know, really wasn't, you know, had like really engaging conversations and things of that nature. I mean, I know, you know, you kind of get this out of, you know, where people like are just always laughing and giggling, and I mean those things definitely happen, but you know, you definitely have like, you know, because for, you know, various different people and why they may do it, you know, like I say, it may calms a lot of people, so you know, you have great conversations and good times and good laughs and you know, all the things, so like I said, that's why I definitely, you know, believe in the recreational use as well as medicinal use, for those reasons. And
for sure,
like I said, I feel like you can, I mean, I don't know, I guess it gotta, you know, be one of those things like what prohibition kind of did for alcohol. Maybe we have to do.
We just gotta roll up to every store, walk inside, and smoke. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what they did in prohibition at all.
That's what we need to do. A big major protest. Everybody that smoke, they just go out and like the public. What is it it'd be like maybe like where the mayor office or something is, right? We'd be a better place or something. Go outside like the courthouse.
No, we need to do like a full. This sounds like a march on marijuana.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be so dope. Oh my God.
And especially because actually a lot of, like, for real, look it up, y'all. I can't articulate anything tonight, but look it up. A lot of, like, the racist roots, like, they use the term marijuana because it's the Spanish word of the English word cannabis. That they started using that in all these different, like, news outlets and papers and all this different stuff as a tie-in with all the negative things that they were saying. They would, like, only use that word. Mm-hmm. So we need to, first of all, take back that word. It's just a Spanish version of cannabis. Like, chill out. It's just another language. Everybody's a human. It's cool. Right. And then we need to fucking march.
And march, that'd be so... You just imagine, like, thousands of people... in like the biggest clouds of smoke. Oh my God.
Oh, and I think it's, I don't know if it's full on legal, but I think it's at least decriminalized in DC, at least.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think DC is like one of the,
at the very least,
places where, yes. But I do think it's...
Ooh, if y'all would join us, please let us know, because honestly, low-key, I really would. Yeah, I really would. If I could guarantee the numbers, then I would, because you have to do it in numbers or it does not work.
Right. Because, listen, you go out there by yourself if you want to.
Yeah. I ain't marching by my...
Right, what you doing?
No.
definitely hot.
No.
No, but definitely, you know how it always is, powers in numbers, so...
Yeah.
It definitely need to be something like...
Yeah.
It'd be a thing. Especially it'd be so dope, like, for kind of 420 thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the whole basis behind it. I guess for people who may not know, it was like a college thing, right? Started like a campus, and like at 420 every day, they would like...
Oh, yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember.
I think that is like the ultimate backstory of 420, where it comes from. You know, the smokers would like get together, or that was the time they would, you know, smoke for the day. So it became a thing, and that's why people do it, and you see it. Yeah. And, you know, this whole thing. A lot of people in the community, the smoking community, be like, okay, 420, you know.
And every day's 420 too, because you have 2 420s every day.
And you do. I love it. So definitely, so we definitely gotta make a push. So definitely, you know, put some comments, you know, in the bottom. Let us know your take on it. You know, do you agree? You know, should it be decriminalized or, you know, taken off again the list? Do you say it should stay? You know, what are kind of the pros and cons, of that, you know, that you may see or foresee, you know, in the future if it does become, you know, countrywide, you know, decriminalized or, you know, I would like it. I would love it to be legal. Like, jeez, let it be legal already.
Yeah. And if you have a friend that has ever, you know, participated and want to share one of their stories, just say, I have a friend and they did this while they were, and they experienced this. You can tell, like, funny stories. You can tell, like, horror stories. You can tell great stories. You can talk about all the medical benefits. You could just say whatever you want.
Yes. I think the biggest thing is that we definitely, you know, get the conversation going. I think that's the overall message, is that we talk about, again, good and bad, pros and cons. You know, let's just talk about it, and so that, you know, we can definitely hopefully see some change when it comes down to it, you know.
Because if we're like, I know I'll get better at talking about this, like, once this is out. Honestly, I feel like that will get me better, but we can all, like, make this difference together, but they're never gonna listen if we ain't talking.
Yeah, right. It's time to do some talking, man. Because I think it's been on that list for definitely far too long. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, at this point, I mean, the 30s. So at this point, what? It's almost 100 years.
Right.
Oh, that's insane. Oh yeah, that's insane.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah, and statistically, like, all people, like, they've done several studies, like, really all people have the same percentage of smokers within that, like, racial profile. So even, like, attaching it to anything like that, attaching it to the, like, reefer madness ideas, like, all those things that, like, started it all, that's So question what you know. Basically what I'm saying is question what you know, question what you're told, do your research, because truly, like, the things that I found were horrific and I can't articulate them tonight. So just please look it up, not only with this, but with whatever you're taught from whoever is teaching you. Just check their shit. Because people can have a lot of confidence and a lot of degrees and a lot of power and not know shit.
Yeah. You didn't jump into jewels though. Come on. I love
it's like a struggle city of like me not knowing how to talk anymore, and then I just come whip it around. Oh Lord, thanks for coming on this ride with us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. And all the good things. So as you continue to do so, again, share this. Like I said, for those who, participate in 420, if you know people who do, share this episode with them. And maybe get some more knowledge behind it all, Yeah.
And tell us how you celebrate or your friends celebrate.
Yes. Right.
But we love y'all so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Go smoke some if you want some. If you don't, then don't. But we didn't tell you either way. It's all allegedly. Teddy wants some. His head popped.
He's like, what? What we got? Hilarious. I
do have some CBD dog treats.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. And I think they're good for the animals, too.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent for that, too.
Not like the flower, not the, what I mean. But there are things that are for animals. And get those things.
Right. And I think those things are good for them, too. So support those brands as well. Get those treats for your dogs, your animals.
Yeah, and allegedly a treat for yourself. That's all I'm saying.
I love that.
But not the dog treat. But so you got anything?
No, I'm good.
I know I'm gonna have 5 million things once we're done. You should see my notes, but y'all check it out for yourself. Let me know what you found. Let us know what you think about this episode, and we love y'all. Ready?
Yeah,
okay.
Okay, guys. All right. Okay.
Love you. Bye. The peace and love drug for real. I said love you so much.